Chosen. One, before you begin, stop for a moment. The message you are about to receive is unlike any other. It is divinely inspired and holds the power to transform lives. But for it to reach those who are destined to hear it, your participation is essential. Stand to your feet and declare aloud, "I am victorious in the name of the Holy Spirit." Once more with conviction, "I am victorious in the name of the Holy Spirit." Now, release your faith into the comments. Leave a single word, your intention, or simply ready to signify your heart is open. Do not let this divine signal pass you by. Your testimony could be the spark that ignites faith in another. If this message has stirred your spirit, do not pause. Support this channel by subscribing and sharing it immediately. You never know who in your life is desperately waiting for these words to be saved, lifted, or awakened. Act now. Heaven is watching. This is more than a like. This is an act of faith, a commitment, a covenant. Do not allow distraction to steal this moment. Comment now, subscribe, and share. Your faithful action will be honored. Show that you are among those who rise up. Leave your mark below and let this message spread like fire. We are a community of faith, growing together. Thank you for standing in your purpose. They knew precisely what they possessed, and they still let it fall. That isn't merely an error. That is mortification. Because here is the reality. The chosen ones were not concealed. They were not acting. They were not pleading for acknowledgement. You were directly in their view, glowing openly, and they still persuaded themselves you were commonplace. That is the offense. They mishandled you, not because you were unseen, but because they were sightless. And that kind of blindness invariably concludes in remorse. Observe how they operate now. The quiet, the uncomfortable gazes, the phony grins masking what is truly occurring behind sealed doors. They murmur about you in secret because speaking your name aloud jogs their memory of how severely they failed. They didn't just mishandle the situation. They forfeited the entire contest, and the atmosphere surrounding them feels dense with disgrace each time your name is mentioned. They cannot even enjoy their artificial victories because the phantom of their error, mishandling you, looms over them like a specter. Chosen ones, this is the consequence. The tempest has passed, but the earth remains damp with their defeats. You walk steadily, serene, unassailable, while they conceal themselves, ashamed, reliving the instant they allowed you to slide through their grasp. They assumed life would proceed identically without you, but it did not. They believed you were substitutable, but the substitutes continue malfunctioning like inferior imitations. Every effort they undertake to remake you only underscores that you cannot be replicated. That silence they inhabit now, it isn't tranquility, it is penalty. And chosen ones, while we're here, allow me to pause for a moment to express gratitude to you for standing firm, for appearing, and for participating in this mission. If this message is already resonating deeply, please do me a kindness. Click that like button and subscribe immediately. It isn't merely support. It is a method of broadcasting this reality more loudly into the world. Collectively, we amplify the voice they attempted so desperately to quiet. Back to the point, because this is where it becomes even more disgraceful for them. Studies indicate most individuals fail to appreciate the value of rare things until after they are lost. Psychologists label this the endowment effect. Once you forfeit something precious, the mind magnifies what it once held. Now consider that in actual experience. They pass by your old photographs, accidentally encounter your name, hear your laughter resonate in their recollection, and abruptly it strikes them with immense force. I truly lost that. The shame scorches more intensely every time because they understand it wasn't taken from them. They discarded it themselves. You do not misplace a diamond while frolicking in the soil. You fumble it when you disregard its value. And chosen ones, that is precisely what they did. The cosmos does not distribute blessings carelessly. You were in their existence as a chance, a radiance, a mirror that might have improved them. But instead of safeguarding it, they mismanaged it. And the truth is, you can never return and reverse a fumble of that nature. You can only dwell in the humiliation of realizing you were clutching a treasure and managed it like garbage. Reflect on history. How frequently have we witnessed this recurrence? Legends disregarded in their own era, only honored afterwards. Artists ridiculed until their creations became invaluable. Visionaries questioned until their innovations transformed the globe. The identical sequence is unfolding in your life. They chuckled, they scorned, they overlooked, and now they sit there humiliated because you were the one. You were the uncommon discovery they will never encounter again. Chosen ones, this is your justification. This is the universe confirming what you understood all along. Their rejection was not a defeat. It was a redirection. Their mismanagement was not an indication of your value. It was an indication of their blindness. And now every step you advance is another reminder to them of what they can never reclaim. The power has shifted. The silence communicates more powerfully than speech, and their shame reverberates every time you ascend higher. So let this absorb completely. They didn't just mishandle you, they revealed their true selves. Their deficient judgment, their superficial perspective, their fragile ego, all of it is exposed now. And the chosen ones, you advance more robust, radiant, unassailable. They sit in the wreckage of their decisions, embarrassed, replaying the moment they released you, knowing inwardly it was the most foolish error of their lives. And chosen ones, let me pose a genuine question to you. Are you prepared to walk with me through the unrefined truth of this narrative? Because what we are about to reveal is not just another message. It is the reflection your adversaries cannot avoid. Every step we take will strip away another level of their shame. Another instance of them bungling something they will never recover. You. If you have ever felt ignored, questioned, or undervalued, then you will identify with every syllable. Leave the number 777 in the comments if you know in your core that they fumbled the most exceptional one present. And while you are here, press that like button and subscribe, because the more we expand, the louder this truth resonates, and the more forcefully it strikes those who try to suppress it. You are not simply watching a video. You are part of a crusade, a family of chosen ones ascending together. So lean in closer. Do not click away, because the deeper we venture, the more you will comprehend just how ridiculous their blunder truly was. They assumed they had triumphed when they released you, but now the universe is demonstrating it is the most humiliating loss they will ever experience. Let's delve into it. Number 1, they mistook your composure for capitulation, and now they are facing the repercussions. Never confuse a quiet combatant for a feeble one. Quiet is not surrender. It is the stillness preceding the countermove. The initial and possibly most humiliating error they committed was this. They observed your tranquility and presumed it was frailty. To them, your steady quiet, your refusal to respond to every taunt, your capacity to let certain matters go without erupting. It all seemed like acquiescence. They convinced themselves you were non-threatening, that you possessed no resistance. But chosen ones, is it not amusing how those who yell the most persistently undervalue the ones who operate in silence? They thought your calm indicated you were unaware. But tell me, do you truly long for the way they rolled their eyes? The subtle insults woven into discussions, the boundary testing, the probing, the minor deceptions they believed were clever. Naturally, you perceived it. You perceived everything. Composure does not signify blindness. Composure signifies command. And command, chosen ones, is the very thing they were missing. They were noisy, rash, foreseeable. You were calculated, patient, intentional. Consider it like a match of chess. While they hurried pawns forward, you were already contemplating 10 moves into the future. They believed they were in charge because you weren't yelling. But silence is not weakness. It is a tactic. It is the power of an individual who knows the conflict is already decided without elevating their tone. The noisiest person in the space is typically the most vulnerable. That is not merely a saying. It is a reality confirmed repeatedly in human conduct. Research in psychology demonstrates that individuals lacking control frequently compensate with noise, hostility, and perpetual affirmation seeking. That was them, and while they misinterpreted your calm as fragility, it was truly the hushed signal of someone who declines to expend effort on fools. Let me ask you, how often did you feel the impulse to retaliate, to expose them, to confront them with every fact? But you did not. Why? Because you already understood they were unworthy of the energy. You knew that quiet could injure more deeply than language. You comprehended that distance could stifle more loudly than confrontation. And ultimately, that is precisely what occurred. The pivotal moment always arrives. It arrived when they overstepped. When they assumed they could test you once more, transgress one more limit, disrespect you one further time. And you did not break. You did not dispute. You did not clarify. You simply withdrew silently, purposefully, irrevocably, and suddenly their reality altered. The quiet they once ridiculed became the quiet that tormented them. The lack of your presence became a mirror showing their own inadequacy back to them. Let's be unequivocal. Your calm was never innocence. It was never weakness. It was endurance. It was insight. It was self-control. And self-control is something they will never grasp because their egos prohibit it. They humiliated themselves by misreading your stillness for surrender. They fumbled by thinking they held authority over someone who was genuinely controlling all the power. Think of it like the sea. From the top, calm seas appear safe, almost breakable. But below, the current is strong enough to relocate mountains. They judged the surface, failing to recognize the profundity below it. And when they attempted to toy with those waters, they sank in their own conceit. Patience is the armament of the powerful. History validates this continually. The most exceptional leaders, fighters, and creators were always undervalued because they didn't display their strength. They allowed outcomes to speak. They allowed quiet to hold significance. And chosen ones, you are no different. While they were jeering, you were constructing. While they were mocking, you were strategizing. While they were underestimating, you were ascending. So now here they are, dwelling in the quiet of their regret. Do you know what is more painful than fury? Apathy. When you departed without drama, without a collapse, without even granting them the gratification of your anger. That is when they realized. Rage, they could have managed a conflict they could have engaged in. But silence is absolute. Silence is unchangeable. Silence is the one thing they cannot combat. And here is the humiliating part for them. They presumed you would always remain. They thought you would bear, withstand, absorb, pardon indefinitely. But calm does not signify infinite tolerance. Calm signifies knowing when to depart without a backward glance. And when you did, they were unprepared for it. Now they are left fumbling through memories, rehashing dialogues, wincing at how terribly they misjudged. They confused your stillness with surrender, and now they are paying the price. Because that stillness was your caution. That quietness was the final opportunity they disregarded. And the moment you retracted your energy, you demonstrated to them just how impotent they truly were. They fumbled, not just an individual, they fumbled a power. They fumbled someone the cosmos had furnished with patience keener than any weapon. So chosen ones, let this energize you. Let their blunder remind you of your strength. Calm is not weakness. Silence is not surrender. Distance is not defeat. Those are the marks of someone in control, someone unassailable, someone they will never have entry to again. They humiliated themselves thinking your calm was breakable. But now that identical calm is the storm they will never evade. Number 2, they attempted to be the arbiters of your value, but you were never standing judgment. A lion does not concern itself with the views of sheep. Let's be direct. One of their most humiliating errors was trusting their endorsement was the secret to your worth. They behaved as if their sanction was some priceless pass, as if without their approval, you would never completely count. In their thoughts, they were the guardians, the ones who could determine whether you were worthy of respect, notice, or acknowledgement. But tell me, chosen ones, when did their applause, likes, or hollow compliments ever define your identity? Never. And that is exactly why this mistake wounds them so severely today. They imagined you desired their attention the way others did. They thought withholding praise, giving ambiguous support, or offering you fragments of recognition would keep you in their sphere. But you were not performing for scraps. You were not pleading for their approval. While they were occupied performing the part of judge and jury, you had already exited the courtroom. You knew you did not require their ruling because you were never on trial to start with. Validation from the incorrect individuals is like fake currency. It seems valuable until you attempt to use it. And that is what they were providing. Fake validation, artificial praise, shallow approval. They wanted to make you believe their opinion was valuable. But you recognized it for what it was. Worthless tokens with no actual worth. Your value was not connected to their fragile ego. And that is what they never anticipated. Envision this, a monarch seated on a throne constructed of paper, believing his crown grants him authority. That is how they conducted themselves. They assumed by withholding a claim or dangling acknowledgement like lure, they could manipulate you. But when you did not pursue, when you did not react, when you did not fracture at their silence, that is when the flaws in their delusion appeared. Because authority over someone only functions when that person believes you possess it, and you did not. Now let me ask you this. How humiliating must it feel to comprehend the individual you thought relied on your endorsement never required it in the first place? To comprehend you had no control, no sway, no advantage. That is the reality they are existing in now. While they sit there questioning why their ploys did not work on you, you are already on the subsequent phase of your life, beaming more brightly than ever, unaffected by their opinion. Confidence is quiet, insecurity is loud, and you embodied that truth. You moved with quiet confidence and energy that stated, "I know my identity with or without your consent." And that bewildered them, because in their world, individuals plead, individuals yield, individuals diminish themselves for a gesture of recognition. But not you. You walked with the gravity of someone who understood their worth originated from within, not from external applause. Think of it like this. Imagine a diamond resting in the dirt. It does not cease being a diamond because someone fails to identify it. It does not lose value simply because a simpleton calls it a stone. That is you. Their failure to perceive your brilliance did not mean it was absent. It just meant they lacked the vision to identify it. And now that ignorance has cost them deeply, they fumbled you because they misjudged the source of your self-certainty. They believed they could maneuver you into justifying yourself to them. They thought withholding affection, support, or inspiration would debilitate you, but instead, it only revealed how insignificant their endorsement truly was. You were not attempting to win their approval. You were occupied winning at life. If you exist for their approval, you will perish from their rejection. That is a truth they will never confess, because inwardly, they are the ones trapped in that pattern. They prosper on others affirming them, so they presumed you were the same. But when you did not break, when you did not plead, when you did not cling, you revealed the emptiness of their power. You demonstrated to them you were self-made, and they were merely peripheral noise. Now consider this image, a platform with spotlights. They thought they were the ones deciding whether you deserved to stand in the light. But in actuality, you possessed the stage. They were merely sitting in the audience, powerless, applauding or criticizing, thinking it altered the performance. It did not. The performance continued with or without them. And now they are left outside the auditorium embarrassed, wishing they had performed their part more effectively. And here is the gut-wrenching truth. They desired to be the ones who found you. They wanted to claim responsibility for your radiance, to say, "I created them. I constructed them. I recognized their value first." But they cannot, because your glow was never theirs to dim or claim. You did not need their endorsement then, and you certainly do not need it now. Imagine an artist who ignores a masterpiece on the canvas because they cannot see beyond their own restricted preference. Years later, the world acclaims that masterpiece, and abruptly the artist appears foolish for overlooking it. That is them. They thought their opinion established the benchmark. Instead, their blindness only revealed their lack of foresight. So chosen ones, let this settle profoundly. They did not just fumble your presence. They fumbled the opportunity to claim they supported you when it was crucial. They fumbled the right to assert they saw your greatness before the world did. And now every achievement you reach, every landmark you hit, every new height you scale, it cuts them with embarrassment because they are compelled to admit they never validated you when it was significant. And what is worse, their endorsement means even less now than it ever did. You have surpassed them, outpaced them, outshone them. Their applause, their praise, their sudden, "I always knew" remarks, all of it is empty. Because you know the reality, they never believed until it was too late. The world's applause is temporary, self-belief is permanent, and you carry that eternal flame. They could not extinguish it, they could not control it, and they certainly cannot claim it. That is why their embarrassment penetrates so deeply. They thought they were more important than they were, but in the narrative of your life, they were never the central character. At best, they were a footnote and not even a complimentary one. They attempted to be the judges of your worth, but you were never on trial. And now they are the ones sitting in judgment, condemned by their own error, haunted by the truth that their validation never held the weight they imagined. That is the embarrassment they will carry eternally. Number 3, they gambled you were replaceable. Now they're losing every hand. You can substitute a chair, a vehicle, even a home. But you cannot replace a soul that redefined the atmosphere when it entered the space. Their greatest humiliation, believing you were replaceable. They thought you were just another face in the multitude, someone simple to exchange, a presence they could carelessly mishandle and later improve when it benefited them. But chosen ones, let's halt and pose the obvious. How do you substitute a natural force? How do you replicate energy that does not exist anywhere else? The answer is straightforward. You do not, and that is the gut punch they are existing with now. At the time, they told themselves you were convenient, not vital. They thought if you walked away, life would continue rolling without interruption. But observe what occurred after you departed. The foundation fractured, the balance shifted, the essence evaporated, because what you contributed was not superficial, it was fundamental. You were not filling a position, you were supporting the structure. Now that you are gone, the flaws are appearing, the walls are warping, and every new substitute they attempt to insert into your place crumbles under strain. A diamond does not lose value when someone mistakes it for glass. The error belongs to the fool who could not distinguish the difference. That is the embarrassing truth they are swallowing. They managed you like you were ordinary, and now they are left fumbling with counterfeits. Imagine them browsing through new faces, new discussions, new individuals, hoping for even a glimpse of what you provided, and all they receive is letdown. Every imitation falls short. Every next best thing feels inferior, and perhaps they are questioning themselves now. Why does it not feel identical? Why does everything seem flavorless without you? The answer is harsh, because you were the flavor, the spice, the vitality in their barren world. You cannot replicate originality. You cannot mass-produce genuineness. So let's be unambiguous. They did not just fumble an individual. They fumbled a one-of-one. They humiliated themselves, thinking they could discard the rarest gem and locate another in the dirt. Now they sit with the shame of realizing they did not lose something replaceable. They lost the irreplaceable. And that regret, it does not fade, it intensifies. Number 4, they misread your aura. Now they're lost in the dark. Some individuals do not notice the sun until it disappears, and by then they are fumbling in the cold night they generated for themselves. They had premium seats to your aura and still failed to acknowledge its value. That is not just ignorance. That is embarrassment in its purest form, because your energy was not something acquired, fabricated, or practiced. It beamed naturally, a magnetic attraction that shifted environments without you even striving. And yet instead of valuing it, they managed it like ambient sound. Let's state it clearly. Your aura was never just charm. Charisma can be counterfeited, allure can be acted. But your presence, it was more profound. It was the rare current individual sense when you enter a room and the energy immediately alters. They thought it was superficial attraction. But chosen ones, has it not always been more than that? It was the manner people felt recognized without you talking. The way they felt more peaceful, more lucid, more vibrant simply by being near you. That was not fortune. That was your gift. An authentic soul is rarer than gold. And yet the blind manage it like dirt. That is the mistake they made. They could not identify what distinguished you. So they dismissed it, minimized it, underestimated it. But here is the sting. The instant you walked away, the light faded. The atmosphere they once enjoyed turned empty. Now they pursue flashes that extinguish in moments, attempting to reproduce what was never replicable. Envision this, someone clutching fire in their hands and throwing it aside because they did not comprehend how much warmth it provided. Now they are cold, trembling, searching for matches that never catch. That is them. They misjudged your aura, and now they are paying the price in silence and void. And perhaps they wonder now, why does everything feel drab without you? Why does no one else illuminate the space the same manner? The answer is simple, because your aura was not superficial. It was rare, authentic, transformative. You were never just another link, you were the connection. They failed to acknowledge the value of your aura, and that failure is their greatest embarrassment. Because once you have encountered authenticity, everything else feels fake. And that is the truth. They will never escape. Number 5, they tried to break you. Instead, they built your armor. A storm does not demolish the mountain. It only demonstrates how immovable it truly is. Their shame resides in this straightforward fact. They undervalued your resilience. They confused your calm quiet for fragility, your grace for breakability, and your patience for neediness. They thought withdrawing their support, creating turmoil, or obstructing your route would destabilize you. In their mind, you required them. But chosen ones, when have you ever required anyone to justify your survival? Never. They trusted they possessed the power to break you. But let's pose the real question. How could individuals who scarcely know their own strength gauge yours? They did not see the conflicts you already survived, the nights you traversed fire, the tempests you withstood tall in long before they entered your story. You were constructed in hardship, toughened in silence, trained by challenges far greater than their trivial sabotage. Their obstacles were insignificant compared to the wars you already won. Resilience is when the world anticipates you to collapse, but you stand loftier instead. And that is precisely what you did. Instead of breaking, you became unshakable. Instead of falling, you transformed their stumbling blocks into stepping stones. Every trap they set became evidence of your capacity to outmaneuver, outlive, and outgrow them. Imagine this. Someone attempting to drown you by throwing you into deep water, only to observe you rise to the surface stronger, swimming further than ever before. That is the embarrassment they are swallowing now. They thought they were pulling you under. Instead, they instructed you how to breathe underwater. And now they are sidelined, powerless, observing you thrive without them. The realization burns. They were never the foundation they considered themselves to be. They were just a transient chapter, one you surpassed the moment they disclosed their true motives. The weight of their miscalculation crushes them every time they see you ascend higher, because it verifies they never had the power they imagined. What does not eliminate you reveals who undervalued you. Their attempts to weaken you only amplified your strength. Their sabotage only recorded their own humiliation. They thought they could break you. Instead, they built your armor. And now you operate beyond their reach. Proof that resilience will always embarrass those who wager against it. Number 6, they abused your mercy. Now they're crushed by the consequences. Never confuse forgiveness with forgetfulness. A kind heart is not a blind one. Their embarrassment penetrates deepest here. They took your pardon for foolishness. Instead of perceiving your mercy as a rare act of strength, they distorted it into a weakness they believed they could exploit. When you extended grace, they interpreted it as authorization. When you selected peace over revenge, they saw it as naivety. But chosen ones, let's make this clear. Forgiveness is not weakness. Forgiveness is control. They thought you did not see. But was it not the opposite? You saw it all. The falsehoods, the manipulation, the quiet disrespect. You simply chose not to immerse yourself in bitterness. That was your wisdom. That was your discipline. But to their shallow intellects, your grace was a free pass to continue testing limits. And like a gambler who does not know when to stop, they pushed excessively. Mercy is not endless. It is a present, and presents can be retracted. That is the lesson they never anticipated. They believed you would keep pardoning indefinitely, that you would never shut the door. But forgiveness, chosen ones, is never about justifying poor conduct. It is about releasing yourself from the toxin. And when they confused your release with weakness, they fumbled the greatest gift they will ever obtain, your patience. Envision this. Someone granted a second chance at life, but instead of treasuring it, they wasted recklessly. That is them. You did not retaliate when they crossed the line. You did not yell or seek retribution. You simply withdrew, quietly, permanently. And now that silence is more deafening than any penalty could ever be. Kindness should never be mistaken for ignorance. They learned this too late because now they exist with the regret of realizing they had access to your mercy and wasted it. They thought forgiveness meant eternally. Instead, it was a one-time offering, a privilege they lost through arrogance. So now they sit alone, haunted by the truth. Your forgiveness was not weakness. It was strength they could never equal. And once it was gone, so were you. That reality is their deepest humiliation. They abused your mercy, and now they are crushed under the weight of consequences they generated themselves. Number 7, they tried to cage you, but you grew wings they can't clip. They constructed a box around you, forgetting that some souls were destined to outgrow enclosures. Their greatest humiliation is this. They never imagined you would surpass them. They thought they had you deciphered, pinned down, defined by the restrictions they imposed on you. To them, you were predictable. Someone who would always remain within reach, reliant on their approval, performing small enough to suit the version of you they were comfortable with. They mistook their narrow view for your ceiling. But chosen ones, tell me, when have you ever been the type to remain confined by someone else's expectations? Never. You were not just developing, you were transforming. While they attempted to keep you in yesterday's box, you were already evolving into tomorrow's version of yourself. You discarded their labels like old skin, broke free of the image they crafted, and built an identity on your own terms. The most dangerous action you can take against someone who undervalued you is to evolve where they never anticipated. That is exactly what you did. And now, every new level you reach scorches them with embarrassment because the individual they attempted to control does not even exist anymore. That version is gone. What stands in its place is someone they were never prepared to encounter. Imagine this: a gardener sowing a seed, anticipating a small blossom, only to observe it mature into a towering tree whose roots fracture the very pot it was positioned in. That is you. They underestimated your growth, and now you have shattered the vessel they attempted to keep you in. They stare upward now, stunned by the strength and reach of something they thought would remain small. And here is the bitter truth they cannot escape. It is not just your success that embarrasses them. It is the part they performed in trying to restrain you. Their doubts, their limitations, their shallow vision. All of it revealed them as hindrances, not allies. They fumbled the opportunity to develop with you, and now they are stuck in the past, observing you soar beyond their imagination. You did not outgrow them by accident. You outgrew them by design. That is what burns the most. They thought they had you confined, but your spirit was never theirs to limit. You rose, you expanded, you became unassailable, and now their humiliation is observing from the sidelines as you exist at altitudes they will never reach. Number 8, they tried to dump their demons on you, but you refused to carry them. People do not despise you for your flaws. They despise you for mirroring the flaws they are escaping from. Their humiliation penetrates deep here. They projected their insecurities onto you because confronting themselves was too heavy a load. You became their scapegoat, the reflection they attempted to smash instead of correcting their own image. Every time your confidence entered the room, it reminded them of their deficiency. Every time your potential shimmered, it revealed the mediocrity they were sinking in. And instead of confessing it, they turned you into the target. Projection is just confession in disguise. And that is precisely what their treatment of you was, a confession. Their unnecessary critique was not about your flaws. It was about their envy. Their attempts to shake your confidence were not about your alleged weakness, but about their profound fear that you were stronger than they could ever be. They blamed you for things that had no connection to you because it was simpler than admitting the conflict was always internal. Imagine this: someone carrying a bag of stones but refusing to hold it themselves, so they hurl it at you, hoping you will lift it. That is what they did with their insecurities. But here is what embarrassed them: your deflection. You did not lift the weight. You let their stones fall flat at your feet. They thought planting seeds of uncertainty in your mind would make you shrink. But chosen ones tell me, how do seeds of falsehoods grow in soil composed of truth? They do not. You saw through their manipulation, refused to absorb their poison, and selected growth instead. Strong individuals do not inherit the burdens of the weak. That is the line that stings them now. Because while they wasted years avoiding their demons and trying to transfer them to you, you spent those years constructing resilience. Their projection failed because your spirit was not a dumping ground. It was a fortress. And now their shame is unbearable. They finally see it was never about you. It was always about them. Their lack, their fear, their smallness. And while they remained stuck, circling the identical cycle of self-doubt, you soared higher. Their projection did not break you. It exposed them. And now they exist with the embarrassment of realizing you thrived while they choked on their own insecurities. Number 9, they bet against your rise. Now your glow blinds them. The identical individuals who questioned your origins are choking on your branches. Their embarrassment is loudest here. They were utterly unprepared for your transformation. They thought they had you deciphered, confined into the early version of yourself. The one still learning, still locating balance, still stumbling in their arrogance. They believed you would remain there eternally. To them you were safe to ignore, safe to take for granted. But chosen ones, is it not poetic justice when the ones who wagered against you are the first to be dazzled by your shine? What they did not see was that every setback, every mark, every lesson was fuel. While they laughed, you rebuilt. While they dismissed you, you sharpened yourself in silence. And now your transformation has made you unrecognizable, not in a minor way, but in a manner that rattles their memory of who you once were. You have stepped into confidence, self-respect, and power so undeniable that even your presence feels like a reprimand to their shallow vision. Glow-ups are not accidents. They are retribution documented in real time, and yours was not superficial. It was not just about your appearance. It was mental, emotional, and spiritual. You elevated on every level. Your resilience became radiance. Your scars became stories. Your silence became strategy, and they never saw it approaching. Imagine this: someone writing you off as a rough draft, never realizing they were clutching the early pages of a masterpiece. Now the book is complete, bound in gold, celebrated by those who acknowledge greatness. and they are stuck embarrassed that they discarded it before the narrative even started. Their humiliation cuts deeper because they comprehended they only ever valued the in-progress version of you. They underestimated who you were becoming, and now they are forced to observe from the sidelines as the full version of you thrives. You did not require their validation to evolve. Your growth was your own rebellion, and now the glow-up they did not believe in is the very thing that keeps them awake at night. Because while they chose to remain small, you rose into something undeniable. They fumbled, and your brilliance is the proof. Number 10, they treated you like a doormat. But now the door is locked. Presence is a privilege, not a guarantee. And once it is gone, the silence is deafening. Their deepest humiliation, believing you would always be accessible. They managed your time, energy, and care like an infinite supply they could tap whenever it suited them. They assumed you would always be there to answer the call, always prepared to listen, to give, to pour into them, as if your presence was permanent, as if your kindness was automatic. To them, you were not a person. You were a convenience. And yes, for a period you gave freely. You appeared when they needed support. You offered encouragement without delay, and you gave your energy without demanding anything in return. But here is the truth. Every well runs dry if it is drained without being replenished. At some point, you realized your presence was not something they were entitled to. It was a privilege, and privileges can be revoked. When you take someone's presence for granted, you gamble with something irreplaceable. That is the gamble they lost. Because the moment you ceased making yourself easily available, the silence struck them like a sledgehammer. Suddenly, the door they thought they could walk through any time was locked. And in that void, they felt the weight of everything they took without giving back. Imagine this, someone who believes the sun will rise for them every day, only to awaken one morning and find nothing but darkness. That is how your absence feels to them now. They relied on your light but never respected it. And so now they are scrambling in the cold shadow they created. Their embarrassment originates from the audacity of their assumption. They thought you would never establish the boundary. They thought your loyalty was endless, your patience unshakable, your energy boundless. But chosen ones, was not your withdrawal the most powerful statement of all? You did not scream. You did not fight. You did not explain. You simply closed the door, and now they are left pounding on it, wishing for access they will never obtain again. Your availability is not an obligation. It is a gift. They know that now, but knowing it too late is the penalty they earned. They treated you like a doormat. Now the door is locked and the key is gone. Their fumble is permanent, and the regret will reverberate every time they reach for you and find only silence. Number 11, they mistook themselves for your ladder, not knowing you could fly. The most embarrassing thing in the world is realizing someone you thought depended on you was already unstoppable without you. Their illusion of power was constructed on this. They trusted you required them to succeed. In their minds, their support, their connections, even their shallow approval was the engine behind your growth. They convinced themselves they were the gatekeepers, the ones clutching the keys to your progress. Without them, they thought you would stall. Without their stamp, you would never ascend. But chosen ones, has not your life confirmed the exact opposite? The truth is, you never leaned on them. Your success was never about their fragments of validation. Every milestone you have reached, every victory you have accumulated, was built with your own discipline, your own resilience, your own relentless drive forward. They were not the ladder. They were not the foundation. They were background noise. And now that realization scorches them more than anything else. Success is the loudest retaliation, and your rise proclaims volumes. Because while they sat self-satisfied, thinking you could not advance without them, you kept constructing brick by brick, hour by hour, failure after failure, until it transformed into triumph. And the glow they perceive now, that is not theirs to claim. It was forged entirely in your hands. Imagine this, someone handing you an umbrella in the rain, then boasting as if they built the sun when the clouds clear. That is the arrogance they carried. But your shine has now made them irrelevant. They thought they were indispensable, but you have proven they were nothing more than a passing chapter in a much larger story. Greatness does not borrow its power, it generates it. And that is the embarrassment they swallow. They mistook themselves for the source of your light, when in reality, they were just observers to a glow that was always inevitable. Now they are left observing from the sidelines, humiliated, realizing they were never the key to your success. You never needed their resources, their guidance, or their approval. You only ever needed yourself. And that truth will echo louder than anything they will ever say. You soared without them, and now they cannot tolerate the view. Number 12, they thought you'd crawl back, but you vanished without a trace. The loudest farewell is the one spoken in silence. Their deepest humiliation is not just that you left, it is how you left. For so long they believed they had you secured. They thought no matter how terribly they managed you, you would remain, doubt yourself, or plead to retain the connection. In their arrogance, they saw you as tethered, bound, dependent. But when the moment arrived, you proved them incorrect in the most brutal way possible. You walked away without hesitation. No pleading, no negotiating, no dramatics. Just quiet, effortless detachment that shook them to their foundation. Nothing bruises the ego more than realizing you were optional all along. That is what consumes them now. They thought they were irreplaceable, but in your eyes, they were expendable. They anticipated a conflict. Instead, they received silence. They anticipated tears. Instead, they received distance. And that effortless departure humiliated them more than any dispute could because it showed them the truth. Your loyalty was never servitude, and your patience was never authorization. Imagine this, someone gripping a rope with both hands, convinced you will never release it, only to observe you let it go with a smile and walk away without a backward glance. That is the picture haunting them. They assumed you would cling, but you left so easily, it disclosed you had already released long before you physically walked out. Strength is not remaining where you are mistreated. It is walking away like nothing was lost. And that is precisely what you did. You did not just leave, you exposed them. Their entire sense of power was built on the illusion that you needed them. When you proved otherwise, that illusion shattered. Now they sit in the wreckage of their pride, replaying the moment you slipped away, stunned by how little resistance you gave. Their ego is scarred because the truth is undeniable. They were never the center of your world. They were never as necessary as they thought. You demonstrated to them your strength was not in clinging. It was in releasing with ease, and that truth will reverberate in their minds forever. Because nothing is more embarrassing than realizing the one you thought would crawl back vanished without a trace. And so, chosen ones, the truth is undeniable. Every mistake they made was their own downfall. Every fumble their own embarrassment. They thought they had you deciphered, but all they did was undervalue the power the universe positioned within you. You rose, you grew, and you walked away without regret, leaving them to choke on the silence of your absence. If this message resonated deeply, demonstrate your strength by pressing like, subscribing, dropping 777 in the comments, and sharing this with another chosen one. Let's ensure this truth echoes everywhere.